Welcome, everybody. Happy Tuesday, Fire Fam. Welcome to the Tuesday edition of Burn It Down with Kim Brown. Of course, this is a safe space where we set oppression ablaze because we know and believe and are going to work to ensure that once we burn this bitch down, something better must arise from the ashes so we can be our best selves out here without the yoke of many oppressions bearing down upon us. I'd like to welcome you all to today's show. Thank you all so much for showing up. Hello, all y'all specific motherfuckers. What's going on with you, Stoner Loner? I got your messages. I'm going to check them joints and I'm going to get back with you. Thank you so much for checking in. Northern Witches in the building, KevZ247. What's up, Dr. Clark? Good to see you up in here. And a heart, hello, honey. What's going on, David Silberg? I know Craig Bardo is in here. Craig said he's driving. Craig, you focus on the goddamn road. Okay, just be careful out here. Chuck Diesel, as always. Franny French, Tyler Hackett, Northern Witch, hello, darling. I know we're going to see our good people, Courtney the SOP and Rain the Sud, push up in here shortly enough. And everyone else, if you are new to Burn It Down, welcome, y'all. This is a good fun space for us. And let me give y'all a quick little heads up. This is a little channel tidbit for you. So I don't remember what the exact date was, but it was this week 1 year ago when Burn It Down with Kim Brown, I'm going to say soft launched, right? Now, as some of you know, from whence we came, we were a show on a larger, though also YouTube channel, news network, and we launched in October of 2020, this same week as Indigenous Peoples Day. And I encourage you all to scroll back on the channel history, the history of Burn It Down with Kim Brown, our very first episode focused on Indigenous Peoples Day and why the Columbus statues needed to be torn down, burned down, ripped apart. It was a wonderful program. So join us, be part of the history of Burn It Down with Kim Brown. Check out our very first episode ever, which aired 1 year ago this week, and it focused all on Indigenous Peoples Day. And of course, y'all, yesterday was Indigenous Peoples Day. And in true American fashion, the Indigenous people marched upon Washington to demand that the federal government, and more specifically Joe Biden and the Biden administration, retreat from their policies of continued oil exploration and pipelines and all of the disgusting ways in which this country uses fossil fuels. And in true American fashion, also on the day formerly known as Columbus Day, Joe Biden sent the Secret Service out there to terrorize some of the indigenous protesters, y'all. All this week happening in D.C., it is people versus fossil fuels. It is a week-long action being led by indigenous organizers here in the district to pressure the Biden administration to end this policy of oil pipelines and fossil fuels and to be sure to keep it in the ground. We're going to check in with that struggle and with those actions a little later on in the program. But as you all see from the title, today's show, now, I bet y'all didn't know that your homie is low-key a sports head. Low-key. High-key, I used to had aspirations to become a sports reporter or a sports anchor. But I have to confess, whenever I would go into the locker rooms, I was way too uncomfortable because the men's was too fine. They was too fine. I said, I can't concentrate. I cannot focus. With all these athletic bodies just glistening around me, I have to leave. maybe this is not the career path for me because, clearly I could become easily distracted. So anyway, I still enjoy sports. Of course, I root for all my local sports here, but I said all that to say, while the Jon Gruden story is a sports story, it's also kind of bigger than a sports story. So I wanted to give y'all at least a little bit of baseline to say that I can speak about this with a tiny bit of authority and of knowledge. Of course, Jon Gruden won himself a single Super Bowl, of course, many with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers many years ago. And ever since then, Jon Gruden has not had a problem getting a job, right? But it appears that Jon Gruden a bit of I'm gonna call him a nepotism hire. There's a whole lot of nepotism hires in professional football. Jon Gruden's father, I believe, used to coach football for Notre Dame, right? So Jon Gruden didn't necessarily pull himself up by his bootstraps. Neither did his brother Jay, for that matter, and then worked their way up. No, these motherfuckers had a leg up already. They daddy used to do this shit, right? So Jon Gruden, privileged white man, privileged straight Christian white man, the top of the social ecosystem, so to speak, right? Let's call him that. Well, it turns out that Jon Gruden, whom despite having worked around lots of black people for many, many decades, you know what he does. Jon Gruden cannot stand big lip N-words. He cannot stand F-words. He can't stand bitches on the field thinking they can referee. He wants Bruce Allen, former general manager of the Washington football team, formerly known as the Washington Racial Slurs, looking for tits pictures from Bruce Allen. It turns out that someone like Jon Gruden is a whole piece of shit, right? Big shocker there, right? The shocker, what is actually not a shocker, is the fact that Jon Gruden, as you know, this whole email controversy that came out as a result of an investigation into the Washington football team and their practices, the way that they operate a hostile work environment, their allegations of workplace misconduct, for the way that Washington football cheerleaders were treated. They were trying to listen, y'all. The shit the Washington football team franchise was trying to do with the Washington football team cheerleaders is repugnant. They was basically trying to pimp these young ladies out to some of their big, club seat owners, right? The mamas that own the suites. They was trying to pimp them out, ridiculous amounts of stuff. In addition to fostering a hostile workplace environment for women who worked in the front office for the Washington football team. They were often subjected to degrading language about their appearance, about who they were sleeping with, or, inferences about that, in addition to not being paid jack shit, okay? So this is how this whole Jon Gruden email situation even came out of. It was born out of a separate investigation, and while investigating, I suppose, Bruce Allen, as I mentioned, the former general manager for the Washington football team, while looking at Bruce Allen's emails from rword.com, racialslur.com, they seen that he was communicating with Jon Gruden from Jon Gruden's personal email while Jon Gruden was working as an analyst announcer for ESPN. And in these emails, according to the New York Times, Jon Gruden was calling Roger Goodell a F word. Now, hold on, let me back up. Because the original story came out about him calling DeMaurice Smith, Gruden, that is, calling DeMaurice Smith, who was the head of the NFL Players Association union, right? Hold on, let me pull it up because, listen, I should not laugh at racial slurs, okay? They're terrible. I agree that they are terrible, but I'm just trying to pick. Sometimes when I read about white people saying racial slurs, I try to imagine in my head them saying the racial slurs aloud. And I cannot lie. I have a tendency to be tickled on occasion by it because, racism is so ridiculous on its face. And then to hear people sort of very confident in their racism, I find that to be a funny thing. I cannot help if that is the case here. Now, this is from ProFootballTalk.com. Okay, and that's what the Raiders head coach Jon Gruden did on Friday afternoon after it came out that he used racist language in a July 2011 email to describe NFL Players Association Executive Director DeMaurice Smith. Dumboris. He called, so he's, DeMaurice obviously is spelled D-E Morris, right? Jon Gruden spelled the joint D-U-M-B-O-R-I-S-S. Dumboris Smith has lips the size of Michelin tires. Jon Gruden, don't your wife try to pay thousands of dollars to get them same size lips every month? Jon Gruden wrote, according to reports from the Wall Street Journals, Andrew Booten, Gruden has spoken to multiple outlets. Okay, that he was just trying to call DeMaurice Smith a liar. But in every apology, he said something about how he isn't racist. And of course, I don't have a racist bone in my body, says Jon Gruden. Okay, we'll get to that in just a moment. But anyway, hold on, excuse me one second. So let's be clear, y'all. Jon Gruden calling DeMaurice Smith a racially tinged name. Okay, that's one thing. Jon Gruden exchanging topless pictures of Washington football cheerleaders with a NFL executive. Okay, that's another thing. But let's be clear. The only reason Jon Gruden is resigned today has nothing to do with either one of those things. It's the fact that he called Roger Goodell the F word, and the fact that he made disparaging comments allegedly about some other team owners and the directions that the NFL was going with in some of their quote unquote diversity and inclusion policies, right? That is why Jon Gruden is out of a job. They could give a fuck. Jon Gruden said DeMaurice Smith had big lips like Michelin tires. They could give a fuck if Jon Gruden had something sideways to say about the female referees. They could give a fuck about all that. Jon Gruden criticized the higher ups in his own food chain. You understand? Like Gruden and Bruce Allen are at a certain level. It's a high level. It's an exclusive, very selective group of people. But the owners above them, shit. At the end of the day, somebody had to write Jon Gruden that $100 million check for that head coaching contract that he signed with the Raiders. What, he signed that, has it been 4 years? 18, I think he signed on as head coach, right? So someone had to write him, well, the Davis family, somebody had to write him $100 million check. So you know you can't, if you $100 million nigga, you cannot go off on $1 billion niggas, right? Because the $1 billion niggas will collect your ass. And that is exactly what happened. So please, let's not be under any illusion that Jon Gruden has been fired for racist, misogynistic, homophobic language. No, Jon Gruden has been let go, or rather allowed to resign, because he criticized white men's more powerful than him. Okay, now let's get back to, hey Harry, what's going on, everybody? Hello, Jenny, Rain the Sun. Hello, baby girl. Pookie, is that Pookie Wood? I don't got my readers on. What's up, I'm Manifesto? How y'all doing? I'm so happy. Hey, Celeste. Hey. Ursula. Ursula's checking in from the UK. Ursula, turn away. You got to go back to soccer. This is American talk right now. We talking football. We talking about football. I'm just messing with you, sis. But anyway, so Jon Gruden and the shit that he was talking, okay? I have clips. Tunde, I want us to pull up Keyshawn Johnson, y'all. Now, Keyshawn used to play wide receiver for Jon Gruden. Back in the day with the Buccaneers, Keyshawn won a Super Bowl with Jon Gruden, right? Keyshawn has long since had beef with Jon Gruden. And Keyshawn has been making the rounds today. Obviously, he's a commentator, analyst for ESPN, and he has a show. Don't get me lying the name of the goddamn show. Keyshawn and some other niggas. I don't know the name of the show. But so there's been a couple clips floating around social media where Keyshawn is sort of giving like very calm commentary. But a brother sitting at home watching TV who was recording the television with his phone caught Keyshawn in the midst of what sounded to me like his fresh, passionate comments, like when they first went to Keyshawn about the shit. And this is what Keyshawn had to say. Tunde, I'm looking at A2, good man. So the clip, so the young man is watching television. So this is going to be our perspective. Oh, by the way, and the reason why this is even more hilarious beyond Keyshawn, because the young man is giving his color commentary as well. So I laughed. So Tunde, let's check out A2, please.
That boy John in hot water. Listen to Keyshawn. Listen.
2002.
Listen.
He's a bad person. I tried to tell people this when I played for this man, but I was in the wrong. Keyshawn just a spoiled brat. Keyshawn just a diva. Keyshawn just wants the football. But here we are now, however many years later, and stuff is coming to the surface. We saw yesterday on the football field what that locker room turned out to be, which is an L. You don't think that was heavy on them black players and some of the white players' mind? Hell yeah, it was.
We now love ESPN.
And speaking of which, and again, I certainly am not going to minimize Jon Gruden's homophobic comments, because in addition to calling Roger Goodell the F word, he also was making disparaging comments about Michael Sam, the first player to come out openly as being gay. He criticized, I believe it was the Rams at the time, 2014, who had originally drafted Michael Sam, saying that the league is inviting quote unquote queers into the league. Mind you, by the way, for this current team, the Las Vegas Raiders, these teams have moved around so much. The Raiders, where Gruden just was formerly the head coach, I believe also has the first active gay NFL player on that roster, right? So in addition to what Keyshawn Johnson was saying about the black players looking at Jon Gruden sus, the lonely gay player, you know he gotta be looking at that motherfucker super sideways, right? Super sideways. But the interesting part is, guys, not all black people seem to have smoke for Jon Gruden, right? Now, that might strike you as strange. But if you understand coonery and the way coonery works, you know that some coon or coons, plural, was going to come out in support for their good buddy Jon. When Jon says that he don't have a racist bone in his body, I assure you there is coloreds clamoring for a camera and a microphone to double down on that bullshit. That fucking Jon Gruden isn't racist. So in addition to obviously the swift condemnation that's coming down for Jon Gruden surrounding his comments, that again, over the span, these emails, I believe, over the span of almost a decade, from 2011 to 2019. Imagine the shit he was saying in front of niggas, right? If he had the confidence, like, to just put all this shit in something that can be documented, right? Imagine what he was saying to his white man's friends when it was just him and his white man's friends, just standing around, blowing on Cuban cigars and drinking, top shelf scotch. Tunde, let's take a look at A2, guys, because Sunday Night Football on NBC caught a lot of people's attention, because this is just when the Gruden story was about to crest. This is before Jon Gruden announced his resignation, but this is after the original story came out about Jon Gruden making disparaging, racialized comments, racist comments about DeMaurice Smith. So Mike Tirico and big time Christian #1, Tony Dungy, respectable Negro #1, maybe #2 after Bill Cosby, I don't know. These Bammers sat around on live television and said that Jon Gruden ain't never said no racist shit around them. If that ain't coonery personified. So y'all listen to Tony Dungy and Mike Tirico coon it up for some goddamn racist ass, misogynistic, homophobic ass Jon Gruden.
And I'm not going to chalk everything up to racism. I think we accept his apology, move forward, and move on just like he did with his team.
Yeah, I think in being honest with the audience, I should weigh in a little bit here, because I was with Jon at that time. 7 years as my partner on Monday Night Football. I probably know Jon better than anybody in the league on a personal level. He said it right. He was ashamed by the comments in the email. The comments in the email are wrong. But my experience kind of parallels Tim Brown, who played for Jon, Hall of Fame wide receiver. He said he never experienced or saw anything that would say Jon was racist in any way. That is exactly the experience I had those 7 years of traveling 3 days together on the road every week. So the story will continue to play out. The league may weigh in. The team may weigh in.
Listen, I love how Mike Tirico and Tony Dungy act like they not respectively 60 years old and they don't know how racism/racists work in this country. Okay? This is not Strom Thurmond. This is not bull kind of racism. You understand? This is that more subtle, slick racism, or the shit that they say about you when you are not in the room. And I think it's awful naive, first of all, for Mike Tirico to be like, I worked with Jon Gruden for 7 years. He ain't called me a nigga once. These allegations are preposterous. It's so ridiculous. to hear these highly capable black men who I'm sure throughout the course of their experience have had plenty of racist shit said to them, to both of them. Tony Dungy, while coaching, Mike Tirico coming up in the ranks of professional broadcasting. And I hate that shit. Like, if you Django ass, if y'all fucking Uncle Ruckus ass niggas don't stop tap dancing and defending these undefensible white men. And let's be clear, there's only so high that someone like Mike Tirico or Tony Dungy or DeMaurice Smith, for that matter, will only be allowed in so many circles in this institution of the NFL, right? They will only be kept at arm's length or have to be dealt with as necessary, okay? If y'all know anything about racists, and I'm sure that you do, racist white people, if they can avoid dealing with black people and other non-white people as much as possible, or if they don't know other non-white people as much as possible, they will do that, right? The people that are also involved in this email chain between Bruce Allen and Jon Gruden are the co-founder of Hooters, the Hooters franchise, and the owner of like a chicken restaurant. I want to call it PCQ Chicken, but I'm not sure if I have that 100% correct in my brains there. But all rich, powerful, connected white men. And again, these motherfuckers have got nerve. Let me exclude the restaurateurs for a minute because I don't know anything about their backstory. But like I said, Jon Gruden is the son of a college football coach. Bruce Allen is the son of George Allen, who was a very influential figure with the Washington football team franchise as well, if I have that correct too. So both of these motherfuckers got their positions and got their legs up into becoming professional football people because they daddies, right? Not because they worked hard, because they daddies was in football. So consequently, their sons come into football. So anyway, I said that to say that privileged, nepotism, moneyed, connected, all that demographic is always going to protect itself, right? And this is an argument that I heard another sports person making, that when it comes to this issue, like we see the NFL going through this rebranding, hashtag end racism, hashtag inclusion, love everybody, right? All this sort of, diversity and inclusion buzzwords, but at the end of the day are absolute bullshit because they're not implemented when it comes to hiring practices, when it comes to the black people who are hired as head coaches in this league, the black people who are hired as front office executives, let alone given ownership opportunities. But Jon Gruden and Bruce Allen and the like are never going to tell on themselves. You understand? So there's no way that we can ever end racism or even have an honest conversation about diversity and inclusion and equity in NFL when we're not willing to have a conversation that these rich white guys don't tell on each other when they're being racist and fucking misogynistic and homophobic. They'll keep going back and forth with each other over email for 10 years and won't say a fucking word until they finally get exposed. And then all of a sudden it's a crisis and everyone's going like this and it's a problem. And now they can't believe it. Now Jon Gruden, I never knew. Jon Gruden never used that language around me. Yeah, around you, motherfucker. Guess how we talk with his boys though? Guess what he call you behind your back, Tony Dungy, when he's with his boys? He's calling you all kinds of names. And that's really the real problem here, y'all. This is the problem in all of our institutions. This is a problem in our government. This is a problem in our whole fucking country, is that we cannot legislate away racism and hate. Okay? Like, there's no shame in it so long as the people who are maintaining their power and their position, benefiting from the racist and classist system, right? They're going to keep that shit going until one of them gets caught and or exposed, and then they'll throw him to the proverbial wolves, but still allow the system to keep going, right? They'll make their apologies. They'll do their due diligence and say, oh, we're gonna give $100,000 to the free every nigga scholarship fund, and they'll sort of like dust their hands off and just call it a day and just keep moving with the same way that they have been operating this whole entire time. So I don't know what the solution is. I mean, we've tried boycotting the NFL. People are very brand loyal to American football. People are not willing to stop watching football, right? But the NFL, I believe, I want to say that they can perhaps be moved because, again, they're making some movements with some of these inclusion efforts that they're doing. But again, I think a lot of that is bullshit. And I think, by the way, speaking of a nigga that is bullshit, Jay-Z is running a lot of cover for the NFL. I expect probably Jay-Z. I don't know if Jay-Z will weigh in on this. He shouldn't. He should stay the fuck out of this as far away as possible. But we know how black artists specifically were looking at the NFL sideways, which is why the NFL has had a really difficult time booking top tier talent for the Super Bowl halftime show. And if you guys remember when Dre, Snoop, and Eminem made the announcement about them being part of the Super Bowl halftime show, I saw Dre specifically going out of his way to think Jay-Z and Rock Nation. I said, I knew that nigga Jay-Z had his fingerprints all over this shit. Black artists was still giving the fucking NFL the side eye because of the way they treated Colin Kaepernick and just their general shittery, I would imagine, towards its black labor producers and the black coaches, how black coaches are obviously discriminated against when it comes to giving opportunities for certain gigs. Like, I knew Jay-Z was running cover for Roger. I knew that shit. I'm like, this some bitch sellout ass. I don't know what the solution is, y'all. I'm gonna keep it a buck because, again, the only thing they understand is money and embarrassment. And I don't even think that they trip off embarrassment that much. They do for a short time, but they understand so long as they hunker down and ride out the storm, this too shall pass, right? Shall it not? So the next outrage will be coming down the pike soon and very soon. But we have to stop allowing ourselves to be told this game, right? This lie, this scam, this fraud. That if you just work hard, you just work hard. You pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You work hard, man. And I promise you, one day, these white people are not going to call you a nigga. One day, you just keep working hard. Just keep working hard. Get as many degrees on your wall as you can. I promise you. With every PhD and doctor in front of your name, they will not call you. They might not call you Dr. Nigga. Oh, Jesus. Make it stop. Make it stop. Make it make sense. Tunde?
Yeah, sorry about that. I was trying to get myself on air, actually. Actually, if you could turn me down on your speakers there, Kim. Yes. But Molly made me, she made us promise to show this.
What's that?
So Jon Gruden's son, apparently his name is Deuce Gruden, and apparently he looks like this.
Okay.
So it shows you the Gruden tree. He runs strong. He looks like he sent a few emails off himself. I'm not making judgments here. I'm just saying. It looks like you might want to search those emails too, but promised us to get that on there. So
thank you very much for that. The young man looks as though he drinks a lot of Bud Light on the weekends, or White Claw, maybe even the White Claw, who could say? Maybe a Marlboro Red in between, there and thither. I feel very bad for Black people and women that work inside of professional football, because it is the height of the old boys club, right? And even though the Washington football team is under this scrutiny, I assure you, the way that women, the cheerleaders and the female, I hate to say female, the women staff, the women front office staff, the way that they were treated in the Washington football franchise, as is alleged, I am certain is going on everywhere in every professional franchise, not just limited to pro football, right? And at the end of the day, these rich, privileged, connected white men don't want your menstruating monthly ass around their game, nor do they want the black players on the field as the bucks, right, to execute the sport and to earn the billions of dollars. But they don't want to hear from them. They're not interested about their labor conditions. They're not interested. Like, another thing that Gruden was complaining about was about the concussion protocols, because you know what? Fuck them football players, those big dumb monkeys. They're just out there for our entertainment. Who cares if they get CTE later on in life or have a catastrophic injury that will end their career, right? We don't need concussion protocols. Fuck them. Like, Jon Gruden just epitomized the worst of the worst. But it is typical, and his perspectives are very typical of that, of those who are in either the managerial class or in the ownership class. They will say disparaging things about women and about non-whites and about non-straights every chance that they get, because this is how they socialize. This is how they connect, right? The way that they identify with each other is to identify themselves as separate and better than the rest of us. And I don't know how you get rid of that. I don't know if you're ever going to be able to get rid of that. I don't know if that's you're never going to get rid of that, from the NFL owners to the people that sit in Congress, to the people that sit on Wall Street, to the people that sit on your kids' school board, shawty. It's to me, it's about good white folks who are in proximity, who, when they hear that shit, they have to check that shit, right? Because again, Jon Gruden's not going to call DeMaurice Smith lips big like Michelin tires in front of Mike Tirico and Tony Dungy. No, he's going to say that around his boys, around his white boys, right? And it's going to take one of them white boys or white girls to be like, hey, you know, is that what we're doing, John, in the 21st century? Is this the way you look at, you know, your peers? Yes, that is totally the way he looks at his peers. But again, white folks, this is on you. This is on you. You need to collect your kinfolk. That's all I can say. Collect your peer group. That's all I can say. And if you are in a position where you don't feel empowered enough to collect your kinfolk, because then they're going to call you a dirty liberal hippie behind your back. Well, I don't know. Again, that's white folks' problems. I need y'all to figure that out. But when y'all do, let us know. Hey, guys. I'd like to take a moment now, take a little pause for the cause. I'd like to remind everybody, I'd like to welcome everybody in here that's in here now, 79 strong. Oh, we're pretty close on matching with those thumbs up. Thank you all so much. Just give us a thumbs up at your convenience. Slap subscribe. Smash that subscribe button for your people over here. Get with the good shit and burn it down with Kim Brown. By the way, shout out, thank you again to all of our patrons, guys. We are at 96 patrons, which blows my mind. Having softly been on the air for about a year, we're just a few people short of 100 patrons. And could you be the 100th patron? You could be you. Patreon.com/BIDWKB. If you sign up for an annual membership, you get 15% off. Lots of you all have done that. David did that. Rose did that. Sugar Bugger did that. If you want to get in on the low for the $2 a month tier, if you sign up for the annual membership, that's $20.14 for the year. That's how you support us for the year. If you're at the $5 level, I think that works out to $51 for the year. So several people have done that. We appreciate that. Thank you all so much. I'm getting choked up behind all the love and support that you guys have shown Burnt Down with Kim Brown and helping us to continue to grow. And it's all because of you all. Thank you so much. If Patreon is not your bag, that's cool. You can hit us with a one-time donation via Cash App, $BIDWKB at Venmo, BIDWKB PayPal.me/BIDWKB. And if material support is not what you're able to do right now, I totally understand that. Free support, y'all. We'll take it. A subscription, a like, a follow on one of our other social media platforms, BIDWKB at Facebook and on Instagram as well. All right, guys. So, as I mentioned, we have been here. It is awesome, isn't it, Anna Hart? I think it's astounding. We had a meeting. So me, Tunde, and Molly, we had a meeting because we be meeting and shit. And we had our meeting, and we kind of, was looking back. Even though the three of us, I'm gonna throw Jean-Vieve in there as well. The three of us didn't start working collaboratively on the show until December of 2020. But let me back up. Jean-Vieve was assigned to help book for the show when we were working at the other place. But when we got our walking papers, Jean-Vieve said she still wanted to do it, and Tunde and Molly said that they wanted to do it too. So here we are, softly at a year. But look, we got over 2,200 subscribers here. We're over 1,600 followers on Twitter. I have no idea where we at on Facebook because I don't be on Facebook. And we have almost 100 patrons, y'all. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I think this is a successful soft launch for a little channel. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you know what I mean? We out here doing a little something in the YouTube streets. So I'm very proud of that. And I'm very appreciative to y'all to show up each and every single week, Tuesday and Friday, day in, day out. Y'all don't fuck around. What's up, Nolly D? Y'all don't be fucking around. And I love it. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to say this. This chat, I put this chat up against most people's chats. God damn it. Y'all had this chat rocking, bro. Rocking. I see the chat moving. I said, oh shit. Chat is moving, Slim. So yes. So thank you all so much, Fire Fam. Y'all are helping us do it, and we'll see where we're at 1 year from now. 2022. We gonna kick that bitch in the nose. Anyway, I'd like to move on to the next story, y'all, because again, like I said, 1 year ago this week, Burn It Down with Kim Brown launched on Indigenous Peoples Day. And as you know, yesterday was a federal holiday, because the federal holiday, like some punk asses, still celebrates and commemorates Columbus Day with a federal holiday. You know, America's just reinforcing where its values still very much lie. But a lot of places, states and cities and local places have re-adopted Columbus Day as Indigenous Peoples Day. So there was actions in the district yesterday, and it was glorious actions because it's all Indigenous-led actions, y'all, because you know what? The Indigenous people of this continent have been fighting this settler colonialism since day one. Now, if I think I have shared this with y'all, I do have sci-fi time travel fantasies. Y'all want to know what my sci-fi, and maybe not even really sci-fi, let me just call it a time travel fantasy. My time travel fantasy is to travel back in time before the first Spaniard or Italian got off the boat, right? Like, if I could get with the indigenous folks, you know, looking at off the coast of Massachusetts or whatever, you know, the Wampanoag Mashpee land up there in New England, and we're not even called Massachusetts, that is Wampanoag Mashpee land. If I could tell the Wampanoag people, when they see that boat with that big sail and the cross on it, listen, I don't know what the native word for machete is, but machete, okay? You cannot let these people set up a tent. Don't even let them start a fire, okay? You cannot let them get comfortable at all. You have to yap their heads off right now. Don't ask questions. I know that is not the nature of your people. Y'all trying to help these people. I'm trying to tell y'all, no. What's the native, what's the Wampanoag Mashpee word for no? No. Machete. Coupon la tête. You have to get rid of them. But anyway, that's my time travel fantasy. To the John Brown Brigade, that's not directed to y'all personally. that is my fantasy solution to a much grander problem, but not you all as individuals. So let me say that. But anyway, So lots of actions in DC because the shit was on and popping, because it is urgent. It is not just urgent in Indian country, the results and the effects of these oil pipelines. It is urgent for all of us. It is just the native people who are making the most fucking noise and jumping up and down and screaming about this as well that they should be. Okay. So Tunde, if you could pop up that B1 for me. So this week, you guys, is a week of Indigenous-led actions here in the district. People versus fossil fuels. Okay, like it's self-explanatory. All right. Despite all of their rosy rhetoric surrounding climate change and the urgency language that Joe Biden uses when he's describing climate change, there's jack shit in the fucking Biden administration's policies that give any indication that they're serious about doing anything to address climate change. In a recent article, I forgot to put it up, but that's okay. By I think it was in the Daily Poster, where the Biden administration revealed that stopping drilling for pipelines and also doing offshore oil exploration, they have no intentions of stopping that because they don't see that as posing a big problem or posing a big threat to climate change. Meanwhile, in Southern California, the Pacific Coast, as we see the initially underreported more than 150,000 gallons, I believe, of pipeline oil just pouring into the Pacific, fucking up wildlife, fucking up bird fowl, fucking up the dolphins and the whales and all that shit. Like, that shit makes me want to seriously like strangle people. But I want you guys to take a look at this compilation of different videos of the actions that happened in DC. Some of these things actually even happened today because I said this is happening all week. So, first clip is going to show the activists arriving at the White House to confront Joe Biden and demand an end to fossil fuels. This is going to be from the group Fight Fossils, the Twitter account Fight Fossils, which is people versus fossil fuels. And then we have videos from Ellie Silverman, who reports for the Washington Post. We're going to see Native elders accosted by Joe Biden's Secret Service. I'm giving you all a little bit of a trigger warning because one of the videos is showing the police using the LRAD, which is the very, very, very loud noise that can cause hearing loss. And there's old people out there. You want to shoot off a fucking LRAD? Metropolitan Police, Secret Service, and Joe Biden and U.S. Capitol Police. You guys are a bunch of fucking assholes. So this compilation of videos, guys, has been taken by and the Indigenous Environmental Network is one of the other video creators that we're going to see in this montage. So Tunde, if we could please take a look at that now.
Ain't no power, people won't stop. 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 Ain't no power, people won't stop.
People gonna rise like the water. We gonna shut these pipelines down. Hear the voice of my great granddaughter saying, keep it in. Bring your descendants. The people gonna rise like the water. Come on. Stand in!
I'm enrollment with the Crow Creek Sioux Tribe. I'm a descendant of those that they put on the ship and raped. Help me, please. Help me. I love my children so much. I love my children so much. I love my children so much. Let me go. Let me go. I want to tell my dad that I really love him. Tell my mom that I love him and that I tried, that I want to live. I don't want to die. I don't want to die.
I mean, could the U.S. be more on brand with sending their stormtroopers after indigenous folks, the original inhabitants of this country, of this land, and on their day, right, the day that has been remade into Indigenous Peoples Day, that initially honored the genocidal conquistador, right, who caused the deaths of probably billions of people. And Joe Biden sent the police after these people, sent the Secret Service out. And I think that there were a number of arrests this morning there at Lafayette Square, which is right across from the White House. I know that I saw, local reports of them having parts of Pennsylvania Avenue shut down. But as you see, the people are absolutely with the shits. And shout out to the Indigenous Environmental Network for their continuing work there. Also shut down DC, I know is out there and part of the group's organizing to give some local support to all the indigenous people and those who are allies to the indigenous people that have come a long way to make their voices heard here to Joe Biden in Washington. And guys, again, and I thank you all for appreciating the fact that we talk about these issues, because I very much see Black liberation as entwined with indigenous liberation and land back. And I think that there is a lot that these respective movements can learn from each other. And they have learned from each other quite a lot and worked together. AIM and the Black Panthers was yeah, you know what I'm saying? Squad up, right? But I love the fact that these indigenous activists, they don't give a fuck. Like they'll show up to your house, okay? They'll run up to your nice little fundraiser, to your $500 plate fundraiser. The good folks in northern Minnesota who have spent the last 8 years trying to stop the construction of the Enbridge Line 3 tar sands pipeline that's bringing tar sands oil down from Canada through the headwaters of the Mississippi in northern Minnesota, have been taking it to their local politicians. And I'm gonna call out a couple names for y'all. Y'all may have seen this already floating around the interwebs. Keith Ellison, alleged progressive, a former congressperson from Minneapolis, the Minneapolis area. I believe that was Keith Ellison's, his congressional district. But now he's the attorney general for the state of Minnesota. Somebody in the DNC told him that he could have more impact there. Okay. And Amy Klobuchar, who is the senator, one of the senators representing Minnesota, and also former attorney general for the state of Minnesota. So the good people at Resist Line 3, this was a couple of weeks ago, y'all, and get comfy because this is like 5 to 6 minutes long, but it's worth it. It's worth it. And it's edited. So let me also put that disclaimer on it too. I do not know what the original source video of these encounters between the Line 3 activists and Keith Ellison and Amy Klobuchar were. So let me just give that disclaimer because I don't know what was edited out. But this is what they published to their Twitter feeds. And I dug it. You run up on a politician and let them know that they ain't shit, and the shit that they are supporting is harming you and your community and your family specifically. You ought to tell them in whatever space. Like the people was running up on Kirsten Sinema in the bathroom. Good. Run up on her ass. Boom, boom, boom. Hey. Wipe your ass and get out here, Kirsten. We got some words for you. So check out these clips. Again, the first couple of clips are going to be Resist Line 3 activists confronting Keith Ellison at an event, and then later they got him outside to talk to him outside. And look at the contempt that Keith Ellison has for these people on all over his face. Observe that. And then at a separate event, these same activists from the same organization ran up on Amy Klobuchar like, hey, bitch, what the fuck is up? What's this Line 3 shit? Fucking up the rivers. You with that, Amy? Are you cool with that, Keith? So yes. Take a look, y'all. The Resist Line 3 folks, again, with the shits in regards to stop the pipelines, honor the earth, keep it in the ground. Let's take a look.
We're asking you to call on President Biden to stop Line 3. It has a higher carbon footprint than the entire state of Minnesota. And this climate crisis, I mean, you saw Hurricane Ida, you saw how many people died, and we just really need you to call on him and ask him to stop it. Because you have so much power. You have so much power. As a young person, the climate crisis is something that really concerns me. And stopping Line 3, we can't have climate justice without you stopping Line 3. Asking President Biden. I know that you don't have a vote, and I know that you can't vote in the Senate to stop Line 3, but President Biden has that power, and you have the power.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can you please commit to stopping Line 3?
Thank you for sharing. Senator, where to go? Oh, I guess going this way.
Can you commit to stopping Line 3? It violates so many treaties with Indigenous people. It costs us over 200 bodies of water in Minnesota. If you are really committed to climate justice and to building a future for this generation, then you would stop Line 3.
Can you make that commitment?
Can you make that commitment for us? Can you fight for us?
General Ellison, in 2015, at an anti-tar sands rally, you promised to stand with the First Nations brothers and sisters at the close and defend Mother Earth. And yet you've been silent on Line 3, and you've been silent on all of the arrests that have been made. What is your plan? Are you going to take a stand? We are not here for what you're trying to turn this meeting into. You know what? I will meet with you after this proceeding is over, if you will leave now.
Line 3.
What about it?
2 out of 3 treaties or tribes didn't approve it, and you guys went against treaty law, which is sovereign, and Article 6 of the Constitution says that tribal law, treaty law, is supreme law of the land. So you went above treaty to approve that pipeline, and nothing has been done to help that. And the protesters have been violently arrested all summer long. What are your thoughts on that as people are being sex trafficked all along that pipe?
So which one? These are my 3 daughters. Which one? Because 1 and 3. Ma'am. You don't know what I mean? Why? Take a look at this picture and tell me which one are the Enbridge workers going to target? Which one is going to be raped before the age of 15? Which one is going to go missing? Which one is going to get murdered? And which one are they going to attempt to sex traffic utilizing apps like AirDrop? This is an honest conversation that Indigenous women wake up every single day terrified about. Line 3 isn't going to be the end of this fight. It is never. There is always going to be another fight, and the MMIW issue is always going to be there. But these corporations are exasperating the issue. My reservation is the reservation that approved this pipeline. So was there consultation? No, because my elders have to come to me in secret with tears in their eyes to hand me tobacco to thank me for the work that I'm doing. And I'm supposed to be able to trust you.
I didn't ask
I'm
you to
supposed to be able to.
No, I didn't ask you.
You are an elected official. Isn't that who I'm supposed to trust? Aren't I supposed to trust in you? Aren't I supposed to feel protected by these men? Because I don't. And I do not trust you.
I don't blame you.
And you have lost their trust. You have lost the trust of all of Minnesota. You have failed your constituents.
Okay, good. Can I go now?
No.
Nothing to you. You didn't deserve that. You owe him an apology.
And violently remove people.
Yeah, after you destroyed his event.
That's not destroyed. Did people get to sit in there and have the event or not?
That's a pipeline. That is violating your rights. Look, I've never said a thing in support of Line 3. I've said I don't like Line 3. If I had any authority to do anything about Line 3, I would. I don't.
The violence that has happened over the course of this summer to water protectors is insane, and nobody will hear us. Corroborating, watched it.
What county did you say, ma'am?
Pennington. Aitkin, Hennepin, St. Paul. Ramsey County?
Hubbard.
Hubbard is the worst.
Now look, I don't want to interrupt anyone, but I would like to share with you that I am happy to listen, but I will call the Commissioner of Public Safety and others to say what's going on with this.
Thank you.
I'll do that.
Okay.
See how?
We'll see you in your office.
Are we back? Because that was awful. Terrible. Listen, when Keith Ellison was in Congress, I actually liked Keith Ellison. Now that display of contempt, like, are we done yet? Like, this is what the fuck you have to say to your constituents who are coming to you with legitimate concerns about, number one, tribal treaties being recognized and upheld. Number two, the woman's concern legitimately about the sex trafficking that happens along these pipeline construction sites and in these pipeline construction camps. And Keith Ellison, you saw him play dumb. He was like, what do you mean? He's like, nigga, you knew exactly what the fuck she was talking about, right? And had that been a Republican, the Republican, I think, would have just blown her off altogether. But Keith Ellison basically did everything but just flat out blow them off. Like, I'm glad that he gave them some time in the parking lot, but at the end of the day, he said he was going to make a call, look into it. That was just to placate them and get them the fuck out his face for the moment, right? And then you saw his real concern was his buddy's event being disrupted. Like, he was more upset about that than really anything than the protesters were bringing them. So again, y'all, I think there's a lot that can be gleaned from the way that our Indigenous brothers and sisters are approaching this fossil fuel fight. I need everybody to understand, every non-Indigenous person needs to understand that this is our fight also. It's only a matter of time, y'all. If the pipelines don't explode, or rather spill, then it's going to be another situation where the infrastructure, and again, I know Joe Biden is pushing for his infrastructure bill, et cetera, and it could do some good. But I know that we are at risk of there being a lot more Flint, Michigans across this country. Pipeline spill or no, right? Our infrastructure is just that bad. Our natural resources are just that mismanaged that, oh, by the way, hold on. Along those lines, I don't know, did y'all watch last week tonight with John Oliver? Not this Sunday show, last Sunday show that he did about the PFAS, the PFASs, the petrochemicals. No, I don't know if they're petrochemicals, but the chemicals that bioaccumulate in your body that don't go any fucking where, right? And basically, every single human on the planet has levels of these PFAS in our blood. Everybody, even newborns, have this chemical in our blood, right? So in many ways, the fight kind of has been lost because we are all now chemically contaminated humans, each and every single one of us. But I guess in order for us to continue in this chemical contamination existence, we actually still do need access to clean drinking water. And that is not a guarantee. And that is very much at risk. And what happened in Flint could easily happen to any town, any major city in this country, anywhere at any time, right? But in addition to that, the shit that we are allowing corporations to do in and around our water sources and the shit that we are allowing to be dumped into the water, this has all happened with Republican and Democratic approval, okay? And at a certain amount of time, like, these motherfuckers have to stop letting corporations poison us because it's cheaper to poison the people than it is actually to clean up behind yourself. And that has been unacceptable for 50 years. But it continues to persist because of deregulation, right? Because of a lot of things. Because the EPA is toothless for a lot of reasons. I don't know how else to hold politicians accountable except to run up on them during they paid, sponsored fundraising events, or if they go to the toilet if you got to bang on the door while Joe Biden's on the toilet, maybe not Joe Biden. Maybe somebody who does not have Secret Service detail. But you understand what I'm saying with this, man. The time for politicians to keep allowing our condition to disintegrate without any action is over. Not comfortably. Not comfortably. I'm not sure if it was the Sunrise people. Might have been the Sunrise people in D.C. Ran up on Nancy Pelosi in going into a D.C. restaurant fundraiser. Good. Run up on her ass. Sit outside her fucking house. I mean, it's time for guerrilla tactics. And clearly, YouTube content monitors, I am not advocating violence, but I am advocating making public figures and elected officials uncomfortable as fuck when you see them. So, if you have a politician or an elected official representing your local jurisdiction and you see them out, say something to them, man. I mean, don't run up to get done up, but say something. If you see me across the street, yell at them. I mean, don't call people fucking bitches out here. Be nice. Just you can reference the specific policy grievance that you have. I would recommend that, even though I think civil discourse is something that is an offshoot of respectability to help keep people in line, to keep the pressure off of the elite class, right? Because they don't want people running up on them and yelling at them. So they're the ones talk about, let's be civil. No, nigga, ain't shit civil about all these PFAS flowing through my goddamn blood veins right now. Ain't shit civil about the oil line pipeline spill in the Pacific coast. Ain't shit civil about that. So perhaps the time for civility is coming to a close. But guys, in addition to civility coming to a close, the Tuesday edition of Burn It Down with Kim Brown is also going to come to a close right now. So I'd like to thank you all. What's up, Courtney? What's up, you Akata? I keep thinking you keep trying to call people Akata. Please tell me that I am misreading your screen name, sir. That's the only reason I don't shout you out a lot, because I know what Akata means and I know it's not nice. So, but if yours is not meant that way, then let me apologize to you. But listen, thank you all so much. See the change. I appreciate y'all. Hey, Reese Mack, what's going on, baby? Haven't seen you in a while. Ursula, of course, Chuck Diesel, Northern Witch, Freddie French, Anna Hart, Ray DeSud, Courtney, Pimp C, the SLP, all of our usual all-stars. I appreciate y'all coming through. Listen, tomorrow, come hang out with us. Black Power Media, the Remix Morning Show, 8 a.m. Eastern Time, with your favorite scholars, not me. I am not the scholar. But Dr. Jerry Ball is a scholar, and Kamal Franklin seems to be pretty scholared, and Kalanji is scholared in the streets. Yes. So, and me, and Jacqueline. No, I'm not sure if Jackie is going to be with us, but y'all show up for us. Oh, and Air Doctor too. And I think Balagoon is tomorrow. But anyway, you all know what to expect from Black Power Media's The Remix Morning Show. 8 a.m. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday mornings. Come hang out with me and them. I will be on there tomorrow. So I will see y'all tomorrow. And hopefully I'll see all our Fire Fam back here on a Friday. And maybe we can get for a ride on a Friday. But thank you all so much for your love and support. Thank you all so much for coming through. Don't forget, y'all. What? Yes, COVID, very much. Still out here jumping on people. Yes, it is. So please, take your precautions. Wash your hands, social distance, wear your mask, get your vaccine, and do all those good things. So we'll see y'all tomorrow morning for the Remix Morning Show, and see you back here on Friday for Burn It Down with Kim Brown Friday edition. On behalf of Tunde and Male, it's me, y'all. It's Kim. I'll see y'all tomorrow and Friday.